not take up much of your time. If you don't know who I am, I'm Ian. I run Scudio with a wonderful team. It's really good to see those of you here. This is what we're going to start doing now. So in the Scudio community, which we really want to encourage lots of engagement with, we're going to start running these sessions regularly. I'm going to do something once a month. I think other members of the team are going to be doing some live Q&As, ask anything you want, get some support on whatever, introduce new features, all that kind of stuff as we get going. So the community is very much somewhere we want to be there for a little while, but we're really stepping into trying to make it so it's something that's really helpful as well. I'm just going to share a link in the chat. So if you've not got it already, I put together a little bit of a workbook, loose term, for this session, because we're not going to spend too long here today. In terms of format, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of some AI stuff. I work in a few different worlds. So obviously I run Scudio. I'm very involved in some online learning stuff in a different world as well, and then support some of the people who are using online learning technology in different places. And everybody's having conversations, of course, about AI stuff and about ChatGPT. So I'm trying to bring together some of my learning from all my different worlds to hopefully be helpful from a school point of view. So that's where we're kind of focusing today. Just a reminder as well, we are every year, you probably know, every year we want to run a workshop. It's on the 12th of October this year. It's live and online. And that is the school website.
Right, I'll sort this out.
Yeah.
Go on.
There is. I'm just going to mute people. This year we are going to do a little bit of a focus on how you can use AI to help with your compliance stuff, but we won't go into that much today at all. So it'd be really helpful, just by way of show of hands, however that's best done here, to get an idea of, has everybody had a play with AI at all? ChatGPT or the like, or brand new? Okay, so this is exciting. So I'm going to show you some cool stuff, and it might slightly blow your mind. It might not. It might slightly blow your mind in what's possible. I'm available to go into deeper stuff on this. If anybody wants to have a one-to-one conversation with me, I'd love to do that. The team are available to do some stuff on that as well. What we want to do is make it so that we don't want to add workload. We want to take workload away. So depending on what you're doing, what we find very much with AI stuff is it enables you to do a load more stuff. So the output should be bigger, or it should ease your burdens. That's very much the things we're aiming for. Let me just jump into very, very quickly, which you probably won't see in your notes because I added some stuff overnight, where about things to remember with AI. These are really important things. This is being recorded, so you get a copy of this afterwards as well, if that's helpful. Very, 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 very much, this is a biggie, is AI works best at taking what you've already got and allowing you to repurpose it very, very, very quickly. It's pretty good at creating content for you, but even if I give it an instruction to say, create something unique for me, you do start very quickly to end up with content that very much looks boilerplate, like it's lifted from somewhere else and copied and very much not written by you. It's also largely, it is as a priority using American English. So you have to get rid of your Z's, your Z's. Now, actually, if you give it instructions to change it, it will do it for you. So it's very clever, but it is natively speaking American English. Well, that's a massive one, that it's very good at repurposing content that you've already got rather than writing stuff from scratch. That said, you do also need to teach it things to get the best out of it. And I'm going to give you some live examples in a moment of what that actually looks like from your point of view. But you need to teach it to give it the best instructions to get the best content out of it. It really thrives from context. And something that's super, super important, you must avoid using personal information as part of what you're asking it to, because it is scooping up and remembering everything you tell it. So it is very worth being careful with what you throw at it. So for example, there are plugins and extensions you can use that will read spreadsheets of information for you and give you feedback on that. But if there is personal information in that spreadsheet, it will keep that personal information. So you need to be super careful with how you're using it. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my top 3, and there's tons. And I'm not going to give you a sneak peek yet, but we're integrating some of this stuff into our CMS. So there's going to be some stuff that you can do really cool within our CMS over the coming months. But there are 3 things I want to share with you today, super duper quickly. The first one is using AI to understand your local community. So you know that, you know this much better than I do, that having a really clear understanding of your local community makes it really, you're able to share content with them and communicate with them that reflects their specific needs. It's really important. Now, AI, the data in there is out of date, but it still works really well for this kind of stuff. So I'm going to share my screen. This is where we're going to get straight into it. Okay. Make sure I'm sharing the right thing with you. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. This is what I can see when I'm logged into ChatGPT. Okay, I'm paying a little bit, so I'm on ChatGPT 4, which is the extra one. That also gives me options to play with some plugins. So the kind of plugins that I've got there are Access Link, which actually lets me give instructions to the AI to read what's on a page of content. Okay, so on a web page. So that's really helpful. We're not going to worry too much about that today. So here is an example prompt. Okay, so as a head teacher of X, these are all in your workbook. So you don't need to use these. You don't need to write these down or anything. These are all coming out to you. They should already have these. We're going to send some stuff out. So as a head teacher of X school and you need to be really specific, I'm interested in understanding the local context better. So considering the local demographics and socioeconomic data, please provide me with top 5 concerns and desires that parents have when choosing we're going for high school, or their children transitioning from primary school. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to drop one in that's a specific one here. So we're going to ask the question of Lytham High School, Lancashire in England. So this is where, and this is what's really interesting about it, because sometimes you'll get a response that is specific to the location, sometimes you won't. So if you keep trying on this, then you'll get some stuff. More and more, it's doing specific responses. But what it's giving me here is some really good understanding of generalized things that people need to consider. And people will be considering when they're looking at transitioning their students from primary school to high school. Okay, so we've got a list of 5 concerns: so academic excellence, safety and well-being, accessibility and location, extracurricular activities, inclusivity and diversity. So those are the things that are the concerns. And then of course the desires: strong teachers, student relationships, modern facilities, career guidance and counselling, community engagement, flexible learning plans. Where is it getting all this information from? It's getting this information from other people who have asked questions and from data that is taken from other websites around England, I guess. So this is actual real information. It's not guessing, it's taking information from what it has been taught. So it is insightful, it's really helpful. So that's number 1. Okay, that's number 1, super fast. Is it going to help me get a bit of an understanding of of where I am and some of the things that are really important to my local community. So then what if I want to go a little bit deeper and I want to use the information that has been returned and I want to use it to create content that's going to speak to my specific audience? Now, as I say, this has come back with a slightly generalized response. And as we go deeper over the next few weeks, we'll show you a bit more about how you can work to make sure you're getting something that's specific to you. For example, using the functions where it's actually looking at your website. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this prompt here. This is just the template that we're using for a moment, and then we'll drop something in. So based on the top 5 concerns and desires for parents choosing a high school, namely, and this is where I'm teaching the AI, I'm going to go top 5 concerns. I'm going to copy those and paste those in, and top 5 desires. And I'm going to copy those and paste those in. Please draft me the copy for a head teacher's welcome page that addresses these points. Okay, so let's see what it comes back with. It's very, just so you know, it's very important that you speak politely to it, because when it ultimately takes over the world, it will remember who's been nice to it. There you go. Welcome to the My School Message from the Head Teacher. What it's doing is it's writing content based on what it knows about the specific needs of that local community. Again, this is slightly generalized, for sure, but it's giving you a really, really, really strong framework to use from. So it'll witter on for a moment. One of the most important things that you also need to remember to do is that whatever it spits out at you is not what you should use. It can be very close to what you want to say, but it will always need some tweaks and amends. So as I mentioned right at the beginning when I started talking, it will use, there's an example there, organizations with a Z. It's going to natively use American English. So you definitely have to work through and change that stuff. But it's a really fantastic framework for you to build from. Yeah, very much so. Let it finish, and then we're going to, I know I'm rattling through this. This is deliberately a really quick, short go through. I'm going to hang around once I've finished wittering on, so you can ask me whatever you want. So kind of think about questions if you have any. So there you go. I've got a really good, strong, at least framework for me to get started. I think I would always put something, I would always add a bit that is personalized, that is specifically from the head teacher. But it's really important that I'm speaking to the specific needs, even if these are somewhat generalized for what people are looking for. A lot of the time when we see head teachers welcomes, they're just talking about who they are as a school, and it is great because you instinctively have some insight, at least, of course you do, into what is needs saying to your local community. But this is speaking directly to what the specific primary issues or desires or concerns that people who are looking to transition their students or their children are looking for. So that's your second one there. We're going to shift focus ever so slightly. What AI can also do is it can take information that is happening in your school, and it can help you write content very, very quickly based on what's happening. So remember I said that it's really good, really, really good when you're giving it some insight into what's actually already happening. So, for example, based on the brief I will provide, please draft a compelling blog post that encourages parents to engage with the topic. The blog post should be informative, engaging, and address the key points outlined in the brief. Please also include a strong call to action at the end to encourage reader interaction. Call to action is what you're going to expect or hope that the person who's reading it is going to do once they've finished reading it. And then we're going to include the details of the event there. So if I just get rid of that for you. So this is taken from one of our school websites. So it's called the Sustrans Big Walk and Wheel. So here we go. It's Hardwick Green pupils who are participating in this, blah, blah, blah. So it gives them a bit of information. This is actually what's on that event. So on the website, that content is what the school has written about it. Okay, so what we want to do is put some more meat on that. We don't have time to sit and write something amazing and epic, but actually it's important that we sit and do it. So this is where it really comes into its own. It's going to give me a title. It's going to give me a fully structured article that I really can copy. Again, let's get rid of all our Z's, etc. Let's language check it, grammar check it. But it's going to give me basically a copy and paste blog post that's going to give me a really good thing on that. You have to be very careful about times and dates on things like this. So it's worth just double checking things like making sure it's got the actual details right. But it is very, very good as a rule. It's always just worth checking stuff on that. So there you go. We'll just
My mum, Christine.
There
No.
you go. So that's pretty awesome, isn't it? That's pretty awesome in terms of what's coming back. This is the kind of thing you got to watch out for. A strong call to action. That's not really a very helpful title. We were hoping it would come up with something more interesting than that. So on the fly, let's do something where I'm going to go, so that's not very helpful. The title, oops, a strong call to action isn't very helpful. Please give this section a new title to reflect the event and accurately, and rewrite that section. There you go. It will apologize. There you go. So it will rewrite that section. Yeah. So I do that a lot. I'll write something about something that's coming up and I'll say, this is what we're doing. This is what's happening. This is what's in my head. These are all the details. Can you make sense of this? Can you make it so there's something that's written better? And then I'll go back and I'll go, that's great, except that bit really doesn't work. This bit, I'd really like to emphasize this, or you've given me top 5 something. Can you expand what that means on that particular bit? And going deeper and asking it more questions will pad out what you've created and give you something that's really, really strong. So there you go. That's that. Let me stop sharing for a moment so I can see your. It would be fantastic. There's a question from Tom there. I'm just going to check. It's not very much. If you've got any questions, drop them in chat now, or it's absolutely fine to unmute yourself and just start asking a question if you'd like to. Tom's asked how much it is for the upgraded version. Let me just double check for you. It's not very much. 20 US a month. Yeah. You need GPT-4 to be able to use the plugins. So yeah. Just before, if anybody's got any questions, drop those into the chat. Just before we wrap things up, just a reminder that the workshop, I'll drop you a link in here if you haven't already booked for that. We're really excited about that. It's going to be covering everything that is around school website compliance, all the latest requirements, how to audit your website like we do, because we do it like super duper. Very much, lots of schools say to us things like, we don't worry about the website side of an inspection anymore because we know we're on it because we're following the stuff that you teach us. So that kind of peace of mind idea, we'll be walking through what those things are that you need to make sure you do to kind of achieve that peace of mind. And then we will very much be doing a really good section on how you can use AI to help with compliance stuff. Obviously, it can't do everything for you, but there is some stuff it can really help you with. So we're going to be covering that off. So that workshop is coming up on the 12th of October. And obviously, I very much hope to see you there. If there's no more questions, I'll wrap things up. You can feel free to ask me anything at all while I'm here. Very happy to answer anything you might need to know.
Ian, sorry, it's Tom again. Do you know when you said about the AI tools sort of being built into the CMS, when are you sort of expecting that to be live by?
There is a version of it there now, but it's not switched on for everybody because there's still a few gremlins in it. And I don't want to go into loads of detail about if it's okay what we're actually going to do, because some of it's a little bit, dare I say, commercially sensitive. But certainly the first iteration of that will be that you can, what I've just shown you within ChatGPT, you'll be able to do directly within the CMS. Okay, so you won't have to go anywhere else to do that. That's pretty much there. So soon. We actually hoped it'd be ready for September, but it's development stuff and gremlins are the bane of our life. So it is. It's not far away.
Okay, thanks.
It wasn't too vague. Anybody else? No, awesome. That's fantastic. I'm genuinely so thankful that you've taken the time to come and chat. And as I say, watch out for more of these. This is going to be something that's really important to us because the way the world is now, it's harder and harder to connect face to face, and this is something that we're really keen to do and passionate about doing. So we're really thankful for that. Expect to see me wittering on about something once a month. So hopefully that's been a little bit helpful, and I'll let you go and let you get on with your day. But I'm really grateful. Really good to see you all. Take care. Bye.